Welcome everyone, this is Kerjims channel. Now we are back to our new episodes of two similar champions and comparison featured by Wild League of Legends versus the Mobile Legend Bang Bang. But before that, please like and subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell icon so you will be notified to our new next episode review. Let's do this!
A native of the Serpent Isles and a frequent visitor of Bilgewater, Illaoi travels beyond her homeland to test those she deems worthy. The Cracken priestess channels the power of her god through a mystical idol, ripping the soul from those she challenges and forcing them to fight for it. Illaoi's purpose is to spread her simple gospel: move forward or die. In-game, Illaoi is a solo lane juggernaut who pulls the souls from her victims while dominating huge areas of the map. Illaoi's passive is Prophet of an Elder God. Every so often, Illaoi summons a tentacle on a nearby wall. Tentacles don't do anything on their own, but they do interact with Illaoi's abilities, and will stick around until Illaoi abandons them or they're killed. Illaoi slams a tentacle down in a target direction, damaging all enemies struck. Passively, tentacles heal Illaoi for a portion of her missing health whenever they hit an enemy champion. Use Tentacle Smash to harass your lane opponent from a distance. If you're good with your aiming, you'll heal yourself up a little while laying the slap down on your opponent. Harsh Lesson, which turns her next basic attack into a short-range dash that deals bonus physical damage to her victim. Harsh Lesson has another use though. Any tentacles that are in range of Illaoi's target will swing at them too. Use Harsh Lesson to show your opponent who the real sucker is when they move in to whack one of your tentacles. Test of Spirit, a medium-range skill shot that literally pulls the spirit from the first enemy champion it hits. Once pulled, spirits manifest beside Illaoi, can't move, last about 10 seconds, and mirror their host's health. But here's the cool thing. Illaoi and her allies can actually hurt spirits with their attacks and abilities, and by doing so, they'll deal a portion of that damage to the host enemy. Now, if Illaoi's team is able to destroy the spirit before it returns to its host, or if the host runs too far away, they'll be briefly slowed and turned into a vessel. This is super bad for them, because vessels also summon tentacles, which will start freely attacking nearby enemy spirits and vessels. That's not to say that Illaoi's targets can't do anything once tested. Once Illaoi grabs their spirit, enemies can attack Illaoi herself to reduce how long the spirit sticks around. If they're actually turned into a vessel, enemies can rid themselves of their curse by killing 3 of Illaoi's tentacles. Test of Spirit is especially effective against long-range champions. Spirits are bad at kiting, because they can't move. And if you land a pull while near one of your tentacles, you'll deal plenty of extra damage and be all the more likely to turn your opponent into a vessel. Or kill them. That can happen too.
He is the Serpent Isles god of life, god of ocean storms, and the god of motion. The literal translation of his name is the unending monster that drives the sea and sky. The religion connected to Nagakeburos has 3 main rules. Every spirit was born to serve the universe. Desire was built into living beings by the universe. And the universe only moves towards its destiny when living creatures chase their desires. The lesser priestesses of this religion are tasked with maintaining temples, calling holy serpents, and teaching people the ways of Nagakeburos. Then there is the Truth Bearer. This position is currently taken by Illaoi. She serves the gods directly by unblocking the flow of the universe. She has 2 sacred responsibilities. The first task of the Truth Bearer is to be the spearhead in the war against undead. Being undead means that you are outside the flow of the universe. Nagakeburos creates life from death. But if there is no death, he can't create life. Every priestess has the responsibility to protect the living from the harrowing. The Truth Bearer directly engages the most powerful spirits and drives the black mist back. The second task is seeking out individuals of great potential and challenging them to the test of Nagakeburos. Using a holy relic called the Eye of God, Illaoi can rip the subject's spirit from their body and force them to stand against her to prove their worth. If the subject fails, it will be destroyed. But if the subject survives, it will forever be changed, and often it will find the will to pursue its true destiny. Illaoi became the most powerful and respectful truth-bearer in 100 generations. But she decided to break the traditions and leave the Golden Temple of Bahur to protect the people of Bilgewater. The previous truth-bearers ignored Bilgewater, for it was full of pirates, drunks, and worthless citizens. But Illaoi was different, and she chose to protect their lives from the harrowing. Not only that, but she decided to look for the strongest souls in the city. Soon, Illaoi brought the widespread awareness of the Mother Serpent to Bilgewater. Rumors say that Bilgewater's most bloodthirsty and infamous pirate had his heart broken by the Cracken priestess. This was no surprise to anyone, since Illaoi was a strong and rough woman. The scene from her story takes place after Gangplank's ship blew up, but before he replaced his arm. Illaoi was in Bilgewater's temple with two priests, a Hierophant and a Serpent Caller. Truth-bearer, this is why we must retreat to Buhuru. We cannot save the Pelangai, the Hierophant said. You've mentioned that before, answered Illaoi. The greatest beasts won't approach Bilgewater, the Serpent Caller said. They stay out in the deep water, away from the stench of slaughter dogs. At best, few half-starved younglings will heed our summons. The citizens of Bilgewater didn't give their time to clean the water, and so the serpents couldn't aid them. Crap, Illaoi said. She had to find a way to protect the city without serpents. Suddenly, a heavy door slammed open. Gangplank's voice howled, echoing through the stone walls. We pulled him out of the water as you commanded, said the Hierophant. Perhaps it would be better to let his energy return to Nagakebura? You do not judge souls, answered Illaoi. Of course, the Truth-bearer. It is for Nagakeburos to judge, he said. Illaoi picked up the Eye of God and placed it on her shoulder. Hierophant, remember my duties, she said as she headed towards Gangplank. We will not be retreating to Buhuru. I will stop the harrowing here. It was so many years since the last time she saw him. She had loved him once. Illaoi stomped down the stairs, thinking about slapping Gangplank in the mouth, but she was unprepared to see him again. She knew he would be injured, but not like this. Gangplank drew his pistol and started aiming all around him to force the monks back away from him. He didn't realize the gun was empty. Where is Illaoi? He bellowed. I'm here, Gangplank, he answered. You look like crap. It was misfortune. Had to be. Working with those two Illaoi horns. They sank it. I do not care about your worship. You were always telling me to move on, to head back out to sea. I needed a boat. You only need canoe for the sea. This is my town, he screamed. The monks around him froze for a second. Gangplank was foolish enough to say that inside a building thousands years older than the city. It's my town, he roared again. So what are you gonna do about it? Said Illaoi. I need Okao and the other chief support. They'll listen to you. If you ask them, they'll help me. What are you gonna do about it? Illaoi said, raising her voice. What can I do? He said hopelessly. She took my ship. She took my man. She took my arm. Anything I had left, I used to get it here. Leave us, said Illaoi to everyone around. I could do that, Illaoi said. With a word, the tribes and Okawa's gang would join you. But why should I? Help me, damn it! You owe me! I owe you? I keep up the rituals. I offer the sacrifices. But you clearly did not learn the lesson. Rituals? Sacrifices? You speak of things for weak men and their weak gods. My god demands action, Illaoi said. I suffered for this town. I bled for it. It is my by right. Illaoi knew exactly what she had to do, but it wasn't an easy choice. Could I send him away? Trust that he still has some sliver of strength or ambition that might see him through? If I send him away, he might live, at least. But that was not the way of Nagakaburo. No second guessing was allowed. Everything is in motion. She lowered the eye of God. Please, Gangplank begged. Show some kindness at least. I will show you the truth, Illaoi said as she stomp-kicked Gangplank in the face. Her heel crushed his nose as he flew backwards. Behold! Shouted Illaoi. Mist started coming out of the golden relic. Soon it started forming into ghastly tentacles. More and more tentacles started forming around the room until Gangplank was fully surrounded. Face Nagakaburo! She yelled. Prove yourself! The tentacles dived into Gangplank's chest and they pulled out his spirit. Then they started attacking him. In the state he was, Gangplank screamed in agony with every move he made. He dodged every attack he could, but for every attack that missed, more tentacles appeared. Gangplank was slowly reaching his limits, but after everything he went through, this test was not enough to break his will. He ripped himself from the mass of tentacles and he advanced towards his soul until he was free again. Bloody and exhausted, he finally stood in front of Illaoi. I will be king. You are in motion, Illaoi smiled. After a silent moment of looking each other in the eyes, Gangplank turned and started shambling away. Next time I ask for help, just say no, Gangplank growled. Do something about that arm, Illaoi said. Was nice seeing you, said Gangplank as he left the temple. Stupid old bastard, she grinned. Tell Okao and the chiefs to support Gangplank, Illaoi said to the Hierophant. Help him retake the city. The city's in chaos. Many want his head. He won't survive the night. He is still the right man for the job, Illaoi said as she hefted the Eye of God onto her shoulder. We can never be certain if we're doing the right thing, or how things will happen, or when we will die. But the universe gives us our desires and our instincts, so we must trust them. And that's where the story ends. Now let's break down some interesting facts. According to the religion, if a subject passes the test, he will then follow his destiny. The test is supposed to show Nagakaburos if the subject is worthy of its destiny. Because Gangplank passed the test, it is possible that he was destined to reclaim the city. There are more interesting facts hidden in her clothes. For example, when taunting Aatrox, she says, "We know your true name. We do not fear you." This means that the Darkins do not have the powers of gods because Nagakeburos does not fear them. When taunting Rek'Sai, she says, "Ugly thing, you weren't designed by God. You were made by fools." This could mean that the Void does not have a god, but instead, the Void could be just an anomaly. And finally, when taunting Diana, Elise, and Leona, she hints that whatever they are praying to may be gods as well, but it is not confirmed yet. It is interesting that Nagake Burons created every creature with its own purpose.